Focus on Ports, brought to you by Transnet National Ports Authority.
Welcome back. You're still watching Focus on Ports. Now, before the break, we discussed the scale of South Africa's oil and gas sector, as well as the National Ports Authority's plans in accommodating its rapid growth. Now, still with me in studio to continue the discussion from the Transnet National Ports Authority are Eugene Kearns. He's Executive Manager for New Business Development, as well as Willem Roux. He's a Port Manager at the Port of Saldanha. And also from our Cape Town studios, Stefan Grabber, founding member of the South African Oil and Gas Alliance. Now, gentlemen, before the break, we talked about the scale of the opportunity and so on. Let's talk now about skills development, Eugene. There's a lot of people that are, potentially will be employed once the oil rig maintenance and repair station is at full operating strength. How many people are we looking at, and what type of skills will be needed? And will there be an opportunity to develop those skills?
Yeah, no, yes, indeed, Lionel. I think there's a broad spectrum of skills that's required. Fortunately, it's not entirely new for us because we've got, although it be a low base, we've got some base that's developed already. But in essence, when looking at the repair that's done on a rig, one of the primary type of skills is welding, and a specialized kind of welding, but I will leave it to Steve to comment more on the specific skills. As far as the Ports Authority is concerned as well, in terms of marine, this charging of an oil rig is a specialized operation. So even our marine staff have to have these special skills to be able to execute this function successfully. And then we could also talk about the equipment that goes hand in hand, apart from the people skills, where we are planning to also upgrade our fleet of tugs that will be capable of handling the type of rigs and other type of support vessels in the port more effectively.
Now let's bring Willem here with regards to the sustainability of this operation. Economies of scale would need to be reached, and the kind of capacity that we're looking at building, how many rigs at a time can we repair? And what's the normal lead time from the time a rig gets into port and it goes back repaired? I want you to comment about the sustainability of such an operation going forward.
Yeah, I think firstly for us to be competitive as South Africa, we need to use economies of scale. As I indicated earlier, this is a new business for us, and we need to build a reputation for ourselves. I believe that the Port of Saldanha will have the capacity to accommodate up to 5 rigs at any point in time. Now, to accommodate 5 rigs, you need both skills that are employed on the rig, that are doing repairs physically on the rig, and you need industry support from a landside base. And those are generally engineering type skills. For new build, refurbishments, it could be a variation of skills: sheet metal workers, carpenters, electricians, turner and machinists, millwrights, etc. So it's a variety of skills. I believe to build the skills will take us time, and maybe we'll have to start in a small way. But to be competitive, as I say, as we grow the industry and as we use economies of scale, it's no use having the physical infrastructure if you don't have the human capacity. Generally, when rigs call, depending on the amount of repairs and maintenance that needs to be done, a rig can be in port anytime from 3 months to 18 months. So it provides a huge amounts of opportunity, and if we have economies of scale, you can have a sustainable business. So you could have rigs calling as the one leaves, either a second or a third or a fourth one waiting in port to be docked, or lying outside of port waiting to be docked.
And these are massive operations we're talking about.
These are massive operations. If you've seen them in Cape Town, you've seen also them in Saldanha. The one that we're having in Saldanha at the moment's been there for 4 months. So she's been there for quite a while. There's still a bit of work to be done on her. The Cape Town rigs we've seen as well. They remain in port for an extensive period of time. So if we have them on a continuous basis, in other words, the one takes over from the other, your berths are continuously occupied, then you have a sustainable business going into the future. The oil and gas industry is not an industry that is in decline, it's an industry that is in growth. Energy is in short supply all over the world, and it is an industry that is growing at a rapid pace. And therefore you will have new rigs coming online, and you'll have a continuous flow of business.
Great
and
stuff.
I believe if we can establish ourselves in the market with a reputation, it's no use towing rigs to the Northern Hemisphere when you've got adequate facilities with a good reputation in the Southern Hemisphere.
Great stuff. Stefan, that must be music to your ears. And I just wanted to find out from you, from the South African Oil and Gas Alliance point of view, and Willems talked about our reputation and building that reputation. What else can be done? Because we really need this kind of business, and it's a huge opportunity.
I think one of the things that we have to have is the skills for the rigs, for the repairs. A average complement of the workforce for a rig is about 800 to 1,000 people per rig, and we estimate a rig calls into the Cape or into the port for about 4 months. So if you have 2 rigs, you have to have something like 2,000 skilled people working on it. And this is our problem, that we do not have the sufficient skills in the country. And the contractors are training at the FET colleges and so on, and having their own training courses, because we have to keep up with international standards. So we have to just be careful how we do this, because a client does not want to have a rig repaired by unskilled people. And this is the reputation that we have to build.
Are you not concerned that we might not be able to reach those skill levels?
Well, that's what the contractors are doing. They are training at the moment. We have successfully done 2 rigs in the past, I think 4 months in Soldano, and they have managed that. And also they are training at the moment. So we can reach that level, but we have to have more training and more training to actually keep up with the international standards.
Okay.
Obviously, the people move from project to project. So if there are no projects in Cape Town, they move to Saldanha Bay and vice versa. But what we're wanting to do as industry is that the people stay or work where they stay and not move around the country, because that is influences on productivity and the cost of moving people around the country. So we want to build a labor force in each port that is capable of doing the repairs and maintenance on rigs. People must also be aware that, you know, in South Africa we had about 30% lease of offshore blocks around South Africa. That's the operators who go in and do seismics and drilling to see if there is any oil and gas. Now, with the finds in Mozambique, something like 95% of the sea has now been leased to operators around the world. So South Africa may be on the cusp of now doing more exploration work in our country, and that means more resources, more facilities that we have to produce for our own energy needs.
So we're definitely on the cusp of something quite amazing with regards to those opportunities. Now let's talk about other opportunities for the private sector or somebody that wants to play in this space, Eugene. Section 56, we spoke about it in the last episode of Focus on Ports. How would Section 56 come into play in this scenario, if at all?
Yes, Lionel, indeed, this being a repair facility, essentially a ship repair facility, the National Ports Authority will go through a Section 56 process to select an operator for this facility. We are already working on this, and we are aiming to, early in the new year, go to market with a request for proposals for to build, to construct, and operate such facility at the Port of Saldanha.
And what's the initial appetite like? Are people familiar? Are they aware of what's going on?
Yes, indeed. Obviously, more so from the industry itself, because as Steve had pointed out earlier, we've been in a process of consultation with the industry players, so and taking input into what this facility should look like, and the capacities, etc. So it doesn't come as news to the industry. And then obviously for further downstream, you know, the service providers and suppliers to the repair industry, there'll be opportunities for them obviously to participate as well. I think the impact in an economy such as Saldanha and the West Coast there would be quite tremendous in terms of the spin-offs that you get from establishing such an industry on a permanent basis in Saldanha.
Well, we've come to almost the end of the program. I'm going to ask Willem to give us our last word. Willem, how many years do you think we have until we get there, until Saldanha Bay is transformed into this important hub for the oil and gas industry on the continent?
I believe we have a window of opportunity now. If we do not use this window of opportunity, our competitors will grab the opportunity.
Who is our competition?
Our competition is the rest of Africa. There are African ports that are coming online. There are African ports that are attracting substantial private investment into the country. And if we don't grab this opportunity now, then we're going to lose out. We will be the losers. And not only will Transnet National Ports lose out, but South Africa as a country will lose out. So I believe we have an opportunity within the next 3 to 5 years to actually establish ourselves in this market. We have to move fast now. I think Steve has highlighted that. And we have to do what is required, both from an industry point of view and from a Transnet point of view. And we can run, some of these processes can be run parallel, and we are doing so. We've already started our own pre-feasibility studies and feasibility studies, and these projects will indicate which locations at Saldanha is best suited for the establishment of these facilities.